I'm certainly improving, K-Man. Bit by bit. I feel like I've been playing pretty good this year in general so far. So it's a start, you know? Ugh. Understandable. Have a nice day. How was my Tennessee tournament? I was playing really good in winner's cider bracket, and then grand finals came around and Cola reset and won pretty solidly, but I didn't really have a good answer to when Roy is willing to just go in and disrespect Falcon with lots of safe buttons. I feel like absolutely everything that is a weakness of Falcon's, he just completely exploited. And he did a really good job exploiting why Roy on paper beats Falcon. Like that is the set to reference. If you want to learn how to beat Falcon as Roy, watch that set. Like, just go through Recursion's VODs on Twitch. And just go to the last 404 and tune it at the end. Oh my god, the footstool! Bruh. 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 Funnily enough, one of the reasons I was even inspired to mess around with a lot of wave dashing during this stream was literally just because of that set. Because I feel like in theory, wave dashing as a microspacing substitute might actually help us a lot against characters like that. Because I feel like this is actually a common thing for Falcon, but I think half of the matchups Falcon loses, he loses literally just because his turnaround makes his microspacing pretty non-existent. So, if we have that issue, might as well try and find a way around it. And I was thinking, maybe microspacing with a lot of wave dashing, especially out of shield, might actually be what we need to change that up for us. Yeah, I'm just gonna try and mess around with a lot of wave dashing stuff with Falcon, since traditional microspacing is just not really an option for us. Therefore, it's time to test non-traditional means. See what happens. By the way, thank you, Wiener Fister, for resubscribing to Twitch Prime for 2 months. Love the streams. Kudos for staying with Falcon all this time. Man. I don't know, I feel like I'm just effectively soul bonded with this character at this point. Which, it's a blessing and a curse, but I accept it. But I'm trying to test a lot of wave dash out of shield and a bunch of other stuff, specifically today. Because I really am starting to think that this might be the answer Falcon needs for a lot of matchups. I'm not saying that it's going to dramatically change them when we're suddenly going to beat characters we lost to before or anything. But if we can even the odds in some of our losing matchups, obviously that's an avenue worth exploring. It might also just end up being a whole load of nonsense, but hey, we don't know until we test it. In Melee, it was a really good microspacing option among other things, because you could also act out of it relatively quickly. And it was kind of similar in a lot of applications to, say, perfect pivoting in Smash 4, because it moves you around a similar distance. And it was actually used in a lot of the same ways. But since we don't have melee wave dashing or perfect pivots in this game, microspacing is a little harder overall. And then for someone like Falcon and his turnaround issue, that kind of exacerbates it. So right now I'm just trying to find creative get-arounds for it. I messed up. Understandable. Have a nice day. Oh Jesus, I messed up. It does fire powers, but that might be a risk worth taking for Falcon. It honestly might still be worth it, even considering that. Alright, so Honest Wario, microspacing is just spacing, usually using a combination of movement to make very small adjustments in your positioning so you can better get an outcome that you want. Like, being able to put yourself in with punish range for one thing might require you to do something else or whatever. For Falcon, he's really bad at this, mainly due to his turnaround being the way it is. So what I'm thinking is maybe, just maybe, using this as a potential workaround, at least to some extent. I think short hopping out of shield is also going to be really important for Falcon, but I think you need to mix it up for that when you're dealing with options where your opponent is just throwing out buttons. Yeah, that's the blessing and the curse of being as wildly unhinged as Nixie is he gets things on people that no one else would, but I think he also gets hit by things that other top level Falcons wouldn't. So it's like, like a lot of the good Falcon things, it's both a blessing and a curse. The curse on my part is I feel like I'm too ambitious for my own good, both in Smash and out of it. Which leads to me going for a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily practical in the moment. For me, I play based off what I think the most beautiful Smash should be, rather than being a little more grounded. Like for me, I try to play Smash like it's the deepest game of chess on the planet, and most of the time it just isn't, let's be real. So I tend to go for a lot of things where if it works, it demonstrates a great level of beauty in the game itself, but like I tend to be attracted to things that are almost impractically difficult. I want to succeed in ways that you realistically only can if you are able to predict things so wildly in advance and so specifically in action that there isn't another way of working it. Problem is, that's not exactly an easy thing to do. Certainly not on a consistent basis. But hey, I have my moments where I do things that literally no one else does whatsoever. A too long didn't read way of saying everything I just said is I get lost in the sauce. But the sauce I'm getting lost in isn't the traditional sauce that one gets lost in. It's like the metaphysical sauce, if you will. Sauce of the mind. Boom shakalaka. God, I love wall jump edge guards so much. Hands down, one of the most fun things about Falcon. Ugh. But I just like that they got rid of perfect pivoting and then didn't either give us wave dashing or something equivalent in response, because we don't really have like a particularly good grounded microspacing option. And it also just gave you more room to express yourself with your movement. That's probably my least favorite thing. Either that or they also got rid of shield dropping and increased the input delay. So those are probably my three least favorite things. Come on, little nugget. Sorry. Oh my goodness. What a sweet little nugget. Plus you can hear her too. I love bunny sound effects. Come on, you must go back down. I have to play Nefs now. Sorry, Bowen. Delicious.